All right, gods and goddesses in training. Welcome back to the channel. It's Uncle Makara. Thought I'd go live today because, well, Shiva Ratri I've been fasting, and yeah, I wanted to create this video for you guys because number one, I'm like, do I really want to edit these every single day? Like, it takes a lot of extra energy, time just to make these videos. Whereas they can be a lot more natural, a lot more free flowing, and I think you guys actually enjoy these videos quite a bit. So I want to speak to you guys about the Akashic records today. Okay. Now, if you were focused on the word Akasha, it's meaning ether or space. Okay. So start to first of all understand that. And by the way, I'm drowning out the kind of noise in the background with some green relaxation music. So that's what you're hearing right now. Okay. Let's put it down there. Okay. Cool. So Akasha. Okay. Creating space, creating spaciousness, understanding that you have an access to this infinite library, okay, of information. And when you go through different levels of this library, and I'm using the word library because our 3D brains can't understand what's really going on, right? We're trying to cluster and categorize these things, and the best way for our brains to understand this is that there are these different levels and these different dimensions, all going up to like the 10th dimension, and then above into something called zero point, right? And the zero point of consciousness kind of splits into these probabilities, and all from coming through source, being even beyond it, even above it, right? So that zero point is when you reach past that infinity cycle. Basically, you keep raising in the dimensions until you get to that topmost level, and that's when you can alter or edit the template, the divine blueprint of reality as well. You can access that through fasting as well, because you are, or pratyaha, which is basically like you taking away from your senses. So the real practice of Patanjali's yoga and the Yoga Sutras was this understanding of like, okay, I'm going to primarily tell you that these senses are there to mislead you, right? Like the seer and the seen, right? The seer is seeing something and that is creating the reality, but what if they could detach from that sense in order to remain solid, centered, aligned, right? So you really need an alignment towards these different levels, right? The fourth dimension associated with the ideas around time and so forth, right? But you have to allow yourself to get into a timelessness if you are to access this, okay? So first and foremost, you want to create a lot of um, opportunities for you to meditate. Meditating specifically, let me tell you this, guys. Specifically, you're meditating for opening your heart space. If you have a lot of heart walls and you don't let people into your world, and you kind of hold all these grudges and you have all these storylines, you're not going to really be able to tap into the Akashic, because there's going to be little reservoirs or dams in that energy, right? So you have to open that energy up. You have to open your heart chakra up and allow energy to flow through that, chi to flow through that, so you can what? Be a channeler, a divine channel, so that you can have these downloads coming in from the Akashic records if you so choose to, right? It's not like you have to do it, right? It's like we come into this world and knowing that it's an illusion and we have to unlearn all this shit, right? We're like gods on internship here on this planet, and we've all been split from source into these different incarnations, avatars, whatever you want to call them. And now they're like, finding a way back to unity, back to wholeness again. Kind of interesting to think about. But also in the Hindu context, it's like Maya is actually a goddess, right? It's a woman. So think about it. Like, you really like that slice of pizza or whatever, like it's delicious, right? But you know that it's just a part of this woman's body or whatever, like very tiny, on a very, very tiny level, right? It's part of the goddess Maya. So it's like, it's still a fragmentation of all of her, like all of that illusion, all of that. I mean, everything around us is this world of illusion, the simulation that we're in, right? This holographic universe, this nature around us. But if we think, okay, it's only zooming in on one sense, one part, right? We can access much more power through that. So the basic practices, you sit in a meditative posture. You first of all clear your heart space, okay, of all the gunk. Then what you do is you tell yourself, I'm open to receive intelligence from the Akashic records. Okay, I'm open to receiving intelligence. I'm allowing myself to receive intelligence from the Akashic records. Now, if that doesn't change you, or you feel maybe a sense of impatience that comes in, that's your own internal resistance towards this. That's where you are dimensionally, in a sense. So that's like your radio frequency, right? So you're on, like, I don't know, Joe FM, and you need to tap into Akasha FM, right? And so it's going to take a fine tuning of the internal dial. And the way you do this is by asking the questions from the perception of your highest timelines, right? When you're asking yourself, I want to see who I was in this life previous to mine. That's a very solid, clear intention, right? Now your brain, your mind, automatically gives you answers, right? Even if you're like, why am I the best, football player, soccer player on the planet? And it's going to give you answers, okay? Well, you have discipline, and you actually value teamwork, and you do. Wait, where is that coming from, right? It's coming from that higher part of the mind that already knows that it's all connected, it's all complete. Every creation is already complete, my friends. So if every creation is already complete, we just have to tap into the frequency of the completion, right? Like if you want a lot of money, you have to feel what it feels like to have a lot of money. You have to close your eyes and actually visualize that character, that version of you. And guess what? That character that we're calling a character is a bundle of good feelings, right? A high vibrational individual that allows themselves to receive this divine gnosis or this information, okay? But it's only after they've let go of a lot of the baggage, right? A lot of the ego, a lot of the mind coming in, being logical all of a sudden. Like, no, but didn't you say that last week it was like that, and now this week you're changing up, right? But when it comes down to the collective unconscious, when it comes down to that mass consciousness, it's really important in understanding if you are changing the Akashic or if you're traveling up the levels of the library, you might find something that might shock you or even terrify you, which is important that you go in with a fresh pair of eyes. You go in with knowingness, and you call your guides to be there with you when you go into these astral realms or these different journeyings, right? Inner journeyings. So once you recognize, let's say that you feel a pressure in your third eye, maybe that, version of you in the past was experiencing something very heavily, like someone was clouding their judgment or, some opinion, or it could be that they were awakening, right? They were coming into contact with their full divinity, their full power. Now, let's say you see a magical crystal in your hand or something like this. Have you hopped timelines backwards or maybe even forwards? Okay. So, I mean, this process is very, very interesting, right? Because your subconscious mind has layers and layers of this stuff. A lot of people do something called past life regression. I don't know if you guys have heard of that. But in past life regression, you can access your past life in a sense and get a sense of what it's actually telling you, which is basically another way of saying that is what your subconscious mind is revealing to you about your understanding of the past, who you were in previous lifetimes. And sometimes it's like, yay, I'm going to be a princess, or like, I'm going to be awesome. No, sometimes you're just like a lazy guy, a woman who's a carpenter, a random bus driver somewhere, someone who's trying to break someone out of a type of a civilization, someone who is a complete normie, like who has nothing going for him, someone who is, extremely rich, maybe, but doesn't have access to that money. It could be like weird karmic lessons, imprints. It could be anything, pretty much, right? But don't judge what you're receiving. Just make a note of it. This is why it's good to have an astral journal or whatever, right? Where you write down your dreams, you write down your manifestations, you write down. Basically, I used to have this concept called a quantum journal, where I used to write in big detail on what exactly my desires were, right? So I'd go human body, I'd describe the human body, like a camel tilt on my face. No, not like black pill, but it was pretty specific. It was like strong forearms and things like this. So I got really, really detailed on that, right? And you can do the same when you're exploring the Akasha, when you're exploring the Akashic field and these records. You can understand that, hey, maybe I can make a note of this. Maybe I'll put this down somewhere, right? So I can re-reference it later, because my human 3D brain needs to understand all of this information that I'm getting, right? I'm harnessing this information, but sometimes it's coming to me in senses and whispers and strange, like body aches or like sensations in my body. Other times it's like I get a random taste of something that's like, why the hell am I tasting pineapple right now, right? One of these I don't know, Caribbean or Yoruba deities coming in, like, or maybe Kamadeva's coming in. I don't know. Like, it could be so many things, right? When you're on the spiritual process, so much gets revealed to you. So you have to create a strategy for yourself that your brain uses in order for you to access the Akasha. Okay. The number one reminder is, hey, what if I was there already, right? Just allow the feeling of you understanding that you have information to all of these ideas, timelines, versions of you. And you understand that once you reach infinity, that it stops? No, it doesn't, because there's other universes, multiverses out there that have a different understanding of infinity, different laws of gravity, different laws of relativity, completely different, understandings. So what if, in order for you to hop timelines, you have to change that relationship? You have to access the God mind first, right? Which is kind of like saying the Akashic records. It is the God mind. You can see everything. You can see all your past timelines and your future timelines all at once, right? And it's boundless. The halls are boundless. Like you could go from, spending all day in that library. Okay, seriously, because you go through one reference, one book, but it's like you've lived countless timelines, you know. And so it's really like have a clear objective, have a clear purpose. I want to improve my health. And so if any of my past timeline versions can give me some information on health, I would really appreciate it. And then you tap in, right? Then you go into zero mode. You go into Mushin or empty mind, essentially. So the way you do that, you can do it through breathing as well. One thing I like to do is I like to breathe into my lower back or my back, because it's quite difficult for me sometimes to breathe into my belly. Belly breathing and or diaphragmatic breathing is very, very powerful, but because I'm a singer, rapper, performer, I speak a lot. I speak when I'm coaching. I speak when I'm counseling others and doing positive psychology sessions. So I've got to know how to use my voice particularly. And a lot of singers, they breathe into their back, if you didn't know that, okay? So just that visualization will relax your lower chakra points and bring it up into certainty, feeling of alignment, okay? And alignment is you just aligning to the frequency that you want, okay? So that you prefer, that you're most, relaxing, the most activated in. Um, it's basically you saying that I am my most peaceful, authentic, pure, aware, conscious, you know, I'm in my presence, baby. I'm here now. And by being here now, I can become the bridge to these other worlds. Okay? So the heart space is like this bridge as well, like this internal bridge between physical and metaphysical. It's the heart's intelligence that really stores all of these emotions, these hidden feelings, these reservoirs that you can access, right? And so when you're going from being up here in the Akasha to down here in the Akasha, you will notice a very different level of spaciousness, right? The mental spaciousness just goes up and beyond, and it's expansive like the universe. So it will keep zooming out, zooming out. But then from the heart, you can actually travel these halls of the library, right? You can use your consciousness and move it to where you want it to go. And your hands will naturally find the book or find the reference or find the thing if you are very, very tapped in, if you are very, very high vibrational, and you can access the feelings of that character who already has it all, who's done it all, who feels that confidence. You can then tap into that, right? You can take aspects of that character and make it a part of you, right? Make it very, very significant as a part of your life, not just something random that's happening, okay? But the randomness, I mean, how much longer are you going to call it a coincidence, bro? You know what I mean? Like, it's happened so many times at this point. You've had these mystical experiences that you couldn't explain to anybody besides your own higher mind. So, what makes you say that I can't do this, or I can't have this, or this is not possible for me, or maybe I should just quit? Nobody believes in me. Nobody wants me to do things. Nobody wants me to have things. Whatever your negative self-talk is telling you right now, understand that that is all noise. Okay, that's all static to me. You guys get that? That's not my internal heart song. That's not my melody that aligns me with the truth in my higher forms. Right? We're sometimes giving me advice, and it's like you sometimes meet these librarians, bro. Okay, you go into these different layers of the library of Akasha, and you meet these guides, you meet these librarians. Okay? So the moment you meet these librarians, they will help you to find the books. They know exactly the information at times. So if you just kind of want to get a quicker process, better results with this, hey, as soon as you're exploring, you immediately find the being associated, okay, with, let's say, the fourth dimension, then the fifth, then the sixth, then the seventh, then the eighth, then the ninth. You have a ninth dimensional guide through the Akashic, okay? And then the 10th, and then beyond into infinity, and then many other infinities, and then it splits like a tree, like fractals, into, more infinity, okay? So if you really want to overcomplicate it, you can go and, let your mind come in and try to cluster it and clunk it into some kind of a mechanism. But my true experience with all of this has been that if I'm just letting go, practicing letting go, doing that breath through the back, right? Releasing the tension, allowing myself to what? Tap into my path of least resistance, okay? When I tap into my path of least resistance, my Eularian destiny, my most natural self, my golden compass, whatever you want to call it, right? Your soul star. When I access that, and I'm the momentum mystic. I'm allowing myself to go through the process, make lots of mistakes, but guess what? It's how I follow up those mistakes to level it up even further, right? Like jazz, how we describe the Primal Sutra, right? We talk about jazz quite a lot because in jazz you can, like in an improvisational jazz number, right? You can make a mistake, but it's a part of it. It's like, yeah, let's include it anyway. Okay, all right, guys, yeah, let's include them anyways. Okay, you're getting into the nightclub, right? Bouncer's like, wait a second. Where's your identification? Okay. Actually, I'm the fifth mage of the, you know, Kevlar series, and I've done a lot of professional spiritual work for decades, and I did. But you're not aligned to this frequency, right? Is what the bouncer's saying. Yeah, but I have all these certifications for quantum healing, and I have all these other things, these different facets of ego that spiritual ego, and techniques of spiritual bypassing. You mean you're not gonna accept all of those? Bouncer just going, you're not a match. There's still a doubt. There's still an uncertainty within you. Like you're asking a question because at some level there's a confusion involved, but your higher self knows the answer already. So it's like a balancing act, right, between these two worlds. And so instead, if you're asking the question from a standpoint of helping yourself and helping humanity, and you're helping everybody, this is what Shivaji was saying yesterday in the channeling as I was tuning in. Very powerful, by the way. We did Shiva channeling. I channeled Shiva yesterday night for Shivaratri. And of course, it's ending tonight, the whole cycle. But I would say this was a powerful understanding for me, man, because I started to notice that this energy was exactly what I needed, right? This energy was exactly what I needed in order to get myself focused again. It almost felt like a rebirth, to be honest with you, last night. Like it felt like I was letting go of some part of me that just wasn't serving me anymore. It was very clear. By the way, guys, 2 days ago I had a psychic attack. I did all of the things that the deities told me to do, and within like 10 minutes of excruciating headache, pain, my crown hurting, I realized, wait a second, I can forgive, I can add reservoirs or layers of relaxation to this to create less resistance towards this. You know what I mean? Like, and once I realized that, like, I don't need to resist further into this. That's my ego wanting it to be that way, right? Like, I want this to be cool. I want this to be normal. But when it's becoming a very specific way, then it starts to trap you, right? It starts to make you a product of its own. And that's when I was like, wait a second, for this psychic attack to backfire, in a sense, I have to not even perceive it as an attack anymore. Okay? It's almost like, how I imagined it, bro? And this is so weird to say, but like in Italy, right? There's a Fontana di Trevi or whatever it's called, right? Like it's a fountain I think it's a god there or whatever in the fountain. Who's there? Maybe it's like Poseidon. I don't know. But yeah, anyway, Fontana di Trevi, right? This fountain where people, what they do is they throw coins into the fountain. So all these insults that I heard were just coins being thrown at me. It's like dance, monkey, dance. That's how I visualized the attack. And this was obviously through reframing and a lot of work and internal work and help from my guides. But I took the attack to mean insert coin. I want to play your video game for a second. My life is so boring, right? Let me just insert coin. Let me just throw these coins at this individual so maybe they'll move or do something. Okay? And I thought that was just like a child trying to hack into the video game or something, like into the server, right? So I was like, this is not even an attack, bro. Like, come on now, right? And it changed my frequency, it changed my understanding. Because it's all a psychological dominance, right? People will try to psychologically dominate you using their words, using their language, using like flowery shit, to kind of mask over things. Mystics do this quite a lot. There's a reason they use mystical smoke screens, right? To hide and like cover themselves up in lies and like, try to just stay in their own kind of, vacant reality rather than interacting with the world, bringing people into collective unity again. Allowing the occult to become a cult, not in a bad way, like a bad cult, like you know, brainwashing others and, you know, putting people into, you know, in fact, let's all give everybody cock cages, okay? No one can jerk off ever again, okay? Like weird shit, you know? Like, bro, we're not doing that, okay? We're not like telling you, like, you know, chastise yourself or, you know, start whipping yourself in the middle of the night. Like, we're not some kind of weird secret society like that in a way. We do have like secret things that we do, and but it's all for our betterment, right? We're peak performance shamans. So that's the thing. It's like we find all these tools, these biohacking methods, this chaos magus shamanism, and we put it all together to create the best outcome for ourselves because we know ourselves better than anybody, right? It's like you have your own connection, your personal reflection to God, right? And that's a very unique thing, man. It's such a unique, beautiful thing that it manifests in your life in such a different way than mine. And I love that actually. I love the fact that we can all come together with this blend of universal consciousness and all these energies. And it's 2:22 p.m. right now, guys, in India. Okay, so that's feminine healing. Okay, that's Mother Gaia coming. Okay, that's Manasa Devi, pure Naga, right? That's you know, Tara Ma. That is Devi Ma. Okay, when I started to give more attention to Devi Ma and her energy and Maya, her energy, I started to notice there's something very rapidly shifting because it feels like, man, it's weird to say this, bro. Like, I don't know how people are going to take this in this video, but it almost feels like I have fangirls. You guys get that? When you work with goddess energy, as a man, I'm saying, like, when you work with goddess energy, even as a woman, right? Doesn't even matter your gender. Um, you will start to notice that they give you lessons in a very nurturing way. Okay, they will sit you down and be kind to you like a mother would in order to extract the problem and then help you further within the coming few weeks. Right? It's almost like a very like one of those old school nannies, you know, that you'd hire and they would go on like a kind of like a quest to serve the planet or help the child or whatever, you know. So that in that way, it kind of feels like that when I've been putting my energy into these different things. My Akashic work has been just, you know, it's been like Team Rocket or like what was that show? Rocket Power. Yeah, it's almost like, you know, you have the ego, right? EGO, and you drop the E and it's just go, right? That's what it feels like because it's the ego is not your amigo, right? It is just there to sort of be, you know what it is? It's almost like you're cast as that character in the movie, right? But it's not the authentic actor who's within the core, the soul that resides, and sometimes soul split. So this is soul reunification, okay? Soul retrieval. This is healing. This is soul retrieval. This is saying, I claim my soul back to me. It's not being split. You made some hidden contract, demonic contract back in the day, you know. It's like, don't do that. You know, it takes a few lifetimes for you to overcome those contracts, you know, and you're gonna affect your future lives. So it's like your future lives don't even know that you've been doing this stuff, right? Or they might learn from, you know, learning how to tap into the Akashic, but they won't really know, right? Like, what if somebody's tapping into the Akashic records right now and they watch this channel and they're like, maybe I was Uncle Makara in a previous life or whatever, you know? Maybe I was this guy, right? Just an Indian guy who like traveled the world, who has all this tech, and now is speaking on YouTube. Maybe I am that guy, you know? Who knows? And if you think about it, you know, if you really think about it, I was flung into this journey, bro. Straight up. I was completely thrown into the fire, bro. In the Coliseum, they just told me to fight the giant lions, right? And they were just like, all right, You're a warrior now. Okay? Spiritual warfare is coming. You're a spiritual warrior now. Okay, put on your suit. Okay, yeah, get out there, get out there. Oh, push him out there, guys. What the hell is happening, right? And now I'm like here. And it's like, have I been in control this entire time? Yes. Yes, but at the same time, I've been systematically finding ways to drop my control. You see? So, yes, you are in control, but it's almost like you are in the watchtower now rather than the main, ground floor. Okay, so that's kind of how it feels when you're accessing this, you're going on this type of journey. Okay, but yeah, man, I hope this video helped you out today, gave you some kind of a unique perspective on all of this stuff. This stuff is exciting to me, when I think about it, and I think about how devas and asuras respond differently to each other. I also find it fascinating how we've been creating these amazing tulpas. Also, a tulpa is basically like a servitor or an egregore. It's a thought form that we create, and then there are certain rules on how to do that. You can watch my video called Tulpa Masters Unite. Go back to that, figure out how to do that, and yeah, man, we've been. Really progressing forward now with the spinal health and everything. I've been doing the hanging, right? The Kundalini dead hangs, and that's basically where you're hanging on a pull-up bar, and you are just moving your hips almost like a naga, like you're basically you're having sex with the air, right? And it's kind of weird to do it in the gym, to be honest with you. Like people look at you like, but that's my process of getting rid of the ego, and it's just go, right? Because I know I need that spinal health. It's like, you know what I mean? If I want to move my hips like this, it's like someone's probably gonna call me a I don't want to say that word on YouTube actually, but irregardless, it's like, so what? That's just a projection. Most people are just projecting onto you, man. And it's amazing when you can come back to that power and be like, I'm not gonna stand for this anymore. Something's got to change, and it starts with me, right? Enter 0 point. Go to the Akashic records. Let's speak soon and shortly. Us. May you never be the same again. I had to head to work, so long day. You already know what it is. Hit that like and subscribe button if you're a part of this journey. We're all gonna win. We're all gonna win. Us. Take care.